if we can play this video. This is taken from Perseverance rover. Video of our dream, just beautiful. Taking off, goosebumps. It looks just the way we had tested in our test chamber, space simulator chamber here. Absolutely beautiful flight. I don't think I can ever stop watching it over and over again. And lands. Well, when things work, it looks easy. I would like to take this opportunity to remind how difficult it is to fly a rotorcraft at Mars. First and foremost, because the atmosphere there is so thin, right? About 1% compared to that at Earth. That's like on Earth being elevation 3 times the height of Himalaya.
This flight control confirming that we have EVRs from Ingenuity. Ingenuity is reporting having performed spin-up, takeoff, climb, hover, descent, landing, touchdown, and spin down. And altimeter data confirms that Ingenuity has performed its first flight, the first flight of a powered aircraft to another planet.
Yeah, this flight was all about proving that it is possible to fly on Mars. So to that end, what we had instructed Ingenuity to do was to climb to altitude of 3 meters, hover there for a little bit, about 5 seconds, then make a turn of about 96 degrees, hover for another 20 seconds, go to land again in the same place that it took off from. And that's what we told Ingenuity to do, and it did exactly that, and it did it just perfectly. From everything we've seen so far, it was a flawless flight. It was a gentle takeoff. At altitude, it gets pushed around a little bit by the winds, but it really just maintained station very well, and it stopped the landing right in the place where it was supposed to go. When we were looking at the downlink data this morning, one of the first things, or one of the most important things that we were looking for was this plot that you can see, which is a plot of the altimeter. That was really our first indication, or real proof, I should say, that, yeah, we really did leave the ground. We really did fly. In addition to this kind of telemetry, during the flight itself, Ingenuity was telling us all along what it was doing. And so what we were able to do with that data is we could take that data and reconstruct the flight and create an animation out of it. So what we're going to see here is such a reconstruction where we've taken that engineering data and animated the flight accordingly. And what that allows us to do is it allows us to look at the flight in a different way, for example, from different angles, up close, and see kind of the small motions of the vehicle. And what you will see here is that it's just really, really steady. Just a beautiful flight. This is the initial hover, and then a turn. And then hover again for 20 more seconds. And then the landing. And just the tiniest little bounce that you can see there on the landing. And that is also completely expected. I think we have a video as well from the rover that we looked at before that we're going to see again. And this again, shows us the same thing, this time with real images from the vantage point of the rover. And it shows you, when you get up to altitude here, a little bit more clearly how it gets buffeted a little bit by the wind and how it very gently makes its way back and lands safely where it needs to be. And what's exciting about this is a flight that we've done hundreds, if not 1,000 times before, but always in simulation. It's always been on a computer. And to see it now finally happen on Mars and happen exactly the way that we imagine it is just a really incredible feeling. Now, while it was flying, it has to keep track of where it is. And the way that it does that, in part, is by taking images of the ground below it, 30 images per second, and analyzing those in order to understand how it's moving. Now, those images are primarily there exactly for that purpose, not necessarily there to be looked at, but it turns out, we grabbed a few of those images and downlinked them to Earth this morning, and it turns out they're absolutely stunning in what they show. What we see here is Ingenuity taking a picture of its own shadow right below it. And I think this is just a stunning image, notwithstanding the fact that it's, a low resolution black and white photograph. We have another image from the same camera, which shows just a moment right before touchdown. You can see the legs are just about to meet the ground here. And this is a very interesting image to me, in part because of what it doesn't show, which is it doesn't show a lot of obscuration from dust, which is one of the things that we weren't so sure about prior to doing this experiment. So already we're learning things here. And in particular here, dust did not seem to be an issue in terms of obscuring the navigation camera close to the ground. In the next few days, we expect to perform further flights, and we also expect to get color images down from the helicopter. Now, one more thing that I want to mention here is that the International Civil Aviation Organization has assigned us a 3-letter designator for Ingenuity, IGY, India Golf Yankee, with the call sign Ingenuity. And those details will be officially included in the next edition of ICAO's designators for aircraft operating agencies, aeronautical authorities, and services. And the location of the flight was assigned an ICAO location designator, JZRO, for Jezero Crater, where the NASA Mars operation took place.
720p video, it's 1280 by 720 pixels. It runs at about 6.7 frames per second. And we originally had the strategy of downlinking the 2.4 second snippet. So there it goes. You can see it taking off. And if you look carefully, you can see it turning in flight. People have talked about that. This is new. This just came down right before this press conference. Turning in flight and then coming back and landing. So I mentioned the frame rate. This is with our one of our wider angle settings on the camera, 34 millimeters. So it's a little more a contextual shot. We also shot a full zoomed version on the heli itself, where the heli flies out of the field of view. We have not downlinked those full frame images yet. So we're expecting those in the coming days. We did verify from the imagery that the heli did take off about 3 meters above the surface, so that's an independent verification. The heli blades are a little blurred due to it's about a 10 millisecond exposure, which is about a 1/2 rotation of the blade at 2600 RPM, roughly, like 0.4. And let's see, and so far we've received about 14 or a little over 1,000 frames. I counted 1,400 last check out of about 2,000. So once again, the orbiter performance has really made this possible to even show you this so quickly, to get to get video from the surface of Mars. So it's really an amazing feat by everybody. So the next image then is, again, going back to the fully zoomed 110 millimeter Mastcam Z picture of the heli on the ground. Again, this is just a nice shot showing, if you look closely, it may be hard to tell, if you look closely at the center, you can see that there's a camera on the helicopter itself that is now facing the rover, and it was not facing the rover before, so that's proof that it did turn in flight. And it's just a nice shot showing that the heli landed safely, and that's just a great picture to have. So then the next picture is now switching cameras. We're going to go to the NavCam camera, and the NavCam camera does not have the video capabilities like Mastcam Z, but we did take pictures during the flight, and this blink, hopefully it'll blink. You'll see the heli. That's the heli on the ground there, looking carefully. Look, okay, no, actually, you know what, this is the other one. Now, if you look carefully at the heli, you should be able to see it shifting. That shows the difference between the takeoff location and the landing location. Maybe hard to see in the video, but we'll put that out we'll release that so people could look at that more closely. I can see it from here, but hopefully it'll come out on the video. So it just shows that the landing was just sort of a real pinpoint landing there by the team, and so congrats to the heli team for just nailing it, Havard and company. And then the last video, or the last blink GIF shows, hopefully it shows the full height there. There it is, okay. So we have the full height of the helicopter there, captured by the NavCam mid-flight, and then a comparison with the heli then on the ground, which will show the full height. It's hard to see the video there from here, but the main summary is that actually, you know what, I'm looking at this. This looks like this is the Mastcam Z again. Well, we just got the data all down, so it sounds like it might be slightly out of order. I think the main point here is that we are swimming in data right now, and we're just cataloging it basically and learning about the flight. We're just extremely happy for this whole